is Macky Sall, the former president of Senegal, on the run just after Bassirou Diomaye Faye was sworn in as the new president of Senegal. Welcome to Oscar Films, where we bring you the untold stories across Africa. Kindly support our channel by subscribing, and also don't forget to leave your opinion on the comments section.
Have you ever wondered how political decisions made today can shape the future of a nation? Let's take a closer look at the political situation in Senegal. In the heart of West Africa, Senegal has been a beacon of stability and democracy. However, the political landscape has been anything but steady in the last 12 years. The rule of President Macky Sall, who held the reins of power for over a decade, has been punctuated by a series of controversies and scandals that have left the nation's democratic fabric frayed. Sall ascended to the presidency with promises of good governance and reduced presidential terms. However, his tenure was marred by allegations of financial mismanagement and a crackdown on civil liberties. Despite his ambitious plans for infrastructure development and economic growth, the delay in oil and gas projects raised eyebrows and concerns about the misappropriation of funds. In the midst of this, opposition leader Ousmane Sonko's popularity surged. This rise, however, was met with resistance from the state, leading to his arrest. This move only served to fuel the fire of unrest, with protests erupting across the country, highlighting the dissatisfaction with high unemployment and rising living costs. In an attempt to maintain control, Sall responded with a clampdown on media and the recruitment of new officers, moves that only stoked further concerns about the curtailment of democratic freedoms. The international community watched anxiously as the situation unfolded, urging the Senegalese government to address the escalating tensions. As Sall's rule came to an end, Senegal's democracy found itself walking a tightrope. The upcoming presidential elections will undoubtedly test the resilience of this West African nation's democratic spirit. Will it wobble or will it stand firm? Only time will tell. In the wake of President Sall's controversial tenure, a new figure emerged on Senegal's political stage: opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. A charismatic and vocal critic of the Sall administration, Sonko quickly became a beacon of hope for many Senegalese citizens, particularly the youth who were frustrated by high unemployment rates and rising living costs. Sonko's rise, however, was not without controversy. His outspoken nature and strong critique of the government made him a target. He was subsequently arrested, a move that ignited protests across the nation. The government accused Sonko of corrupting the youth, a charge that many saw as a thinly veiled attempt to silence a political adversary. This arrest, coupled with the broader discontent with the Sall administration, led to widespread unrest. But the controversy surrounding Sonko didn't stop there. He was also accused of rape, a charge he vehemently denied and from which he was ultimately acquitted. His supporters believed these legal troubles were politically motivated, a tactic to undermine his influence and discredit his reputation. The fallout from Sonko's arrest was significant. His supporters took to the streets, demanding justice and challenging the government's actions. The resulting clashes between protesters and police resulted in a rising death toll, further fueling the tension and discontent. The government responded with a hard hand, initiating social media restrictions and further arrests, escalating the volatile situation. As the unrest continued, the international community watched with growing concern. Calls for the Senegalese government to address the tensions were met with defensiveness, with the government blaming protesters for economic losses and undermining democracy. The unrest following Sonko's arrest led to a mounting death toll and strained Senegal's already fragile democracy. The rise and fall of Ousmane Sonko, a symbol of hope for many, became a stark reminder of the challenges that lay ahead for Senegal's political future. With the nation in turmoil, a new leader took the reins: Bassirou Diomaye Faye. As the echoes of Macky Sall's 12-year tenure faded, Faye stepped up to the podium, sworn in as the new president of Senegal. The air was thick with anticipation, and the weight of the task ahead was palpable. In the immediate aftermath of his inauguration, Macky Sall, the former head of state, took to the skies, leaving Senegal behind. The destination of his flight remains undisclosed, but whispers in the political corridors suggest Paris, France. This departure was not entirely unexpected. Days before his exit, the media buzzed with reports of Sall's plans to spend his retirement outside of Senegal. While Sall's abrupt departure raised eyebrows, the spotlight remained firmly on Faye. The nation, fraught with political unrest and economic challenges, looked to him for direction and stability. As Faye took the helm, the expectations were immense and the challenges daunting. Faye inherited a fragile democracy, marred by controversies and dissatisfaction. The remnants of Sall's rule, fraught with financial scandals, delays in oil and gas projects, and a crackdown on civil liberties loomed in the background. The recent unrest, fueled by high unemployment and living costs, was a stark reminder of the uphill battle that Faye faced. Yet the new president showed no signs of backing down. His resolve was clear: to steer Senegal towards a more stable democracy. The nation needed healing, and Faye was tasked with mending the wounds of the past while paving the way for a brighter future. However, the road to recovery was not without obstacles. Faye had to navigate the turbulent waters of political unrest, economic instability, and social discord. His leadership would be tested, his decisions scrutinized, and his actions consequential. Despite the challenges, Faye's inauguration marked the dawn of a new era in Senegal, an era that held the promise of change, the hope for progress, and the potential for stability. The world watched, waiting to see if Faye could navigate the storm and guide Senegal towards calmer shores. As Faye begins his tenure, the world watches to see if he can steer Senegal towards a more stable democracy. Its current challenges and strengthen its democracy? As we consider the potential future of this West African nation's democracy, we must take into account the recent political developments that have unfolded. The end of President Macky Sall's 12-year tenure has left the nation's democracy in a fragile state. Despite his initially promising governance and plans to reduce presidential terms, Sall's reign was marred by financial scandals, a crackdown on civil liberties, and a delay in oil and gas projects. This, coupled with the rising popularity and subsequent arrest of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko, has fueled a wave of protests, highlighting widespread dissatisfaction with high unemployment and living costs. With Sall's suppression of media and recruitment of new officers, concerns about democratic freedoms have intensified. The upcoming presidential election is set to be a litmus test for the resilience of Senegal's democracy. Will it crumble under the weight of its challenges, or will it emerge stronger, proving its mettle? The international community, too, is watching closely. They've urged the Senegalese government to address the tensions and discontent brewing within the nation. The government, on the other hand, blames the protesters for economic losses and challenges to democracy. This tug-of-war between the state and its people adds another layer of complexity to the situation. As for the future, it's uncertain but not without hope. The arrival of Bassirou Diomaye Faye as the new head of state could bring about much-needed change. However, it's essential that he addresses the nation's concerns and works towards fostering a more transparent and accountable government. The resilience of Senegal's democracy isn't just crucial for its people. It's a symbol of hope for the entire African continent. It serves as a reminder that democracy, while often fraught with challenges, can and does flourish in Africa. As Senegal navigates its political unrest, the resilience of its democracy is put to the test. Only time will tell if it can emerge stronger from these trials.